it's not really against men. It's actually very freeing for men, because the point of it is that men no longer have to feel inclined to be the only or sole provider. So if a man says, I'm too busy tonight to be intimate with you because I have a lot of work to do, it's not shamed on him.
Yeah.
But as a woman, you need to be always ready.
Yeah.
Like, you have men that feel like they are entitled to your body. They are entitled to access to your body.
Yeah.
So they will touch you without your permission.
Hi everybody, and welcome to Sofa Convos.
Thank you.
And if you're just stopping by for the first time, Sofa Convos is a place where we talk about problems that relate to minorities. We talk about root causes, problems, and we talk about solutions. And today we've got someone very special, talking about something very special, about feminism and gender equality. Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my gosh.
Boys and girls.
So extra.
Make some noise for the hottest babe in Calgary.
Thank
Okay,
you,
how are you
thank
today though?
I'm good. I'm excited. I've had some wine now, so I'm ready to talk.
Okay. Like, you don't want to miss this one. Like, I'm going to ask a couple of questions.
Okay, sure.
And just let me know what you think. Just don't hold anything back. Just
Don't hold
let us
anything
know.
back.
Just
Okay.
really hard, okay.
Okay.
So, very first question is, what is feminism and why is it important?
Okay.
You know?
So feminism is basically this idea that women are deserving of equal experience and equal pay and just overall equal rights that men do. It's not really against men. It's actually very freeing for men, because the point of it is that men no longer have to feel inclined to be the only or sole provider. Men no longer have to be inclined to be kind of confound to toxic masculinity, that they have the right to express themselves similar to the way that women express themselves without being almost demonized for being feminine, right? So it's freedom for men, but at the same time, you gain freedom as a woman. That's my understanding of feminism.
So, like, looking at having women at the same footing as men, right?
Right,
So,
yeah.
you're wanting, like, whatever a man gets, a woman gets also.
Right, exactly.
Awesome.
And I mean, I don't know, because every woman is different, right? So that's why in feminism spheres, we say that you define your own version of femininity. So some women, they are perfectly fine with being housewives, and that is perfectly fine.
Okay.
And then some women, they prefer to be able to work a corporate job and not be shamed for that.
Yeah, true.
And
true.
some women, they are active. They want to be able to climb the highest mountain. They want to be able to do construction if they care about building things.
Yeah, yeah.
They want to engineer things. And so that is also fine. It's about freedom to choose
What you want to do,
what
right?
you want to do as a human.
Yeah.
As
yeah.
a human.
That makes sense. Actually, like,
Yeah.
having that freedom for
Every
single
person. Trans people. Like, it's freedom for every person.
Oh, that's,
Yeah, for sure.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest, I'm a guy, right? So whenever I think of, or like whenever my friends think of feminism, it's almost like,
It's like a dagger.
yeah.
In your
And,
back.
like, I'm not sure why this is, but it's probably.
Is it any different from white lives matter? Like, all lives matter?
Not
I don't
really,
know.
though, but like, I feel like a perspective, like the freedom, right? Because if I'm a guy, you're a lady, you can make choices on the
Right.
same footing, then that's awesome because.
Right. Because it takes the pressure off of you.
Exactly, like, so both people having the same rights.
Because I think people don't know this, but feminism was originated from specifically white women. And so we have our own version as Black women.
Yeah.
We came up with this thing called womanism. And it is actually a word that describes or came from Black women because we had been ignored in the feminism movement. So feminism itself is geared toward middle class white women. And as you know, like, we have other things as Black women that we deal with, like racism. We have other things like classism, sexuality. And so those things were ignored by white feminism. And so we came up with our own thing called womanism.
So you're saying humanism is like the Black version of feminism?
Yeah, so
Okay.
the saying is that if feminism is the color purple, womanism is the color lavender, or the opposite. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, that's what you mean.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so why is feminism or humanism important, and what does that mean actually?
Okay, so for me, I think I want to hone in on womanism. And so for womanism, for example, you have these things where Black women, they are dying in pregnancy 2 to 6 times depending on where they are compared to white women.
Yeah.
And so when you see rates like that are so drastically different, you have to recognize that there is an intersectionality occurring between being a woman, which is, we know, a little bit more difficult than being a man. But on top of that, the idea of your blackness as a woman. And there's no way to kind of separate those things. And so what feminism has done is it has given a voice to women, but ignored the black woman's experience.
Okay.
Right. And so it's really important for us to recognize that we have to include all of these things when we are trying to take into account freedom for all people.
Okay,
right.
That's interesting, but I have like more questions, right?
Okay. Ooh.
I mean, it kind of goes with what you're saying. Do you want to talk about the history of feminism in, like, say, African and Caribbean society?
Sure. So I think when we think about it, right, I already spoke a little bit earlier about this idea of womanism. And womanism is founded out of black women saying we are feeling ignored in this feminist movement that is primarily geared toward white feminism or white middle class women.
Yeah.
And so for us to be included, we want to come up with our own thing called womanism.
Yep.
Now the other side of that, though, I think in the Caribbean, and what I have experienced personally and what I've seen, is that we tend to shame women. So being a woman is being able to bear children, right? Being able to cook, being able to foster a household as safety for a man, being able to go to church and be lead praise singer, right? All these feminine qualities. And so if you don't have those things, then you are less of a woman. If your man cheats on you, then he's justified to cheat on you.
But like if you do the same thing, it's like, why?
Yeah, if a man does that though, if a man says, I'm too busy tonight to be intimate with you because I have a lot of work to do, it's not shamed on him.
Yeah.
But as a woman, you need to be always ready, always acceptable, always willing. And it's kind of crazy to think that you get to be a human, but I don't get to be a human. You get to have experiences and feelings. You get to be in the mood or not be in the mood, but I don't. You get to decide whether or not you want to have children.
Yeah.
But it's automatic that I do.
For you as a lady. So
right.
All of this.
I'm less of a woman if I don't.
Yeah. So like all of these things in the African and Caribbean societies kind of brought about the feminist or the humanism movement. Right?
For sure.
People are kind of tired of these things and how
they're treated,
and they're trying to get women to also have like this freedom, like you said,
right,
as the male counterpart.
But I think the problems are different depending on what culture you're in.
Yeah.
For sure, right? Like, so if you're in the US culture, you may not have so many grabby men. Whereas in Caribbean culture or in African culture, just based on my experience, because I've also traveled to Africa, like you have men that feel like they are entitled to your body. They are entitled to access to your body. So they will touch you without your permission. And that is normalized in those cultures. And so I think those are the things that Afro and Caribbean feminists are trying to address. The fact that you can be raped if you are within your marriage. Like that is a thing. You can be touched without wanting to be touched. And that is a thing that is common in our culture. And we look at it like it's a measure of your attractiveness as a woman, but it's not. It's a measure of a lack of self-control, right? From the men.
Yeah. So like the humanism is trying to say, okay, this has been a part of our culture, and we have to stop it.
We have to.
Oh,
because you know what it is. We have this pattern of over-sexualizing black women.
Yeah.
And it's the result of that is that, I mean, even in the U.S., I mean, you can even look at Obama's wife, Michelle Obama, talking about this idea that we have missing girls, right? Like all over the world. And the reason why they can go missing without anyone saying anything is because they're black. They're black women. They're black girls. They're not just girls. And so feminism approaches this idea that, okay, these girls are girls, whereas womanism approaches it as, no, these are black girls. And so the things that would be appropriate or the things that you would get away with is just significantly more when it comes to black women, unfortunately.